Hi, everybody. Kenny Webster here. Perhaps you have heard by now. You know who Tim Walz is? Tim Walz is Kamala Harris's running mate, and he's in a little bit of trouble right now with 16 million military veterans around the country who are upset at him. They're accusing him of stolen valor, and this isn't even what that's a video about, but it does sound like he stole a little bit of valor, lying about his position in the military, quitting right before he was supposed to go away to war, even suggesting he got PTSD in Afghanistan when he was actually eating a bowl of pasta over there in Italy. Sounds like a fun thing to do, but what Tim Walz is being accused of doing right now to disrespect military veterans is nothing compared to what the Democrat Party establishment has been doing for years. Let's go back to July, a few weeks ago. Joe Biden sat in front of a TV camera and he said, and I quote, "He was the first president this century to report to the American people that the United States is not at war anywhere in the world." He said this in a speech, and then less than an hour before that, Biden spoke those words. The U.S. military announced they were bombing Yemen again. So Joe says we're not at war anywhere. We're actually at war in Yemen and Syria and apparently Iraq and, of course, Israel. And don't forget about Ukraine. That's every liberal's favorite war. So, yeah, we are at war in an awful lot of places. Now, with all that being said, all this war going on everywhere in the world and America funding both sides of almost every war is actually nothing new. It's been happening my entire adult life, and I'm a middle-aged man. So, not surprisingly, every day in America, we have 22 military veterans committing suicide. That's over 8,000 a year. It's a serious problem. And oddly enough, we might even have a solution to this. MDMA therapy for PTSD has been tested and proven to be very successful. These are experimental treatments, but if somebody has PTSD, maybe trying out MDMA, the street drug known as ecstasy, might actually work. It might actually save somebody's life. Well, the FDA stepped in and they rejected these therapies. They said, we don't care if it works. We don't want people doing it. We don't like it. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, all right, Kenny, well, if someone in the federal government is turning down experimental psychedelic drug treatments to cure PTSD, that must be the conservatives in our government that are doing that. No, oddly enough, it's not. Conservatives overwhelmingly seem to support this idea. Here is former Texas Governor Rick Perry talking about exactly what I'm saying right now.
Use of psychedelics for post-traumatic stress. This treatment, this medicine works. It started to make a lot of sense to me. These are medicines that were taken away for political purposes back in the early 70s that we need to reintegrate, study them, do the appropriate things. But the potential here is stunningly positive. These young men who have put their lives on the line for us, who have been impacted through all the different types of trauma that come with being a warfighter, that this treatment, this medicine works.
Okay, so why wouldn't the Democrats want to help out military veterans? Why would they want them to die, you might ask yourself? Kenny, that seems a little hyperbolic, isn't it? Well, that is actually what I'm saying. Every year, our military, our VA that is, spends about $400 billion treating military veterans' health care at VA hospitals around the country. Now, in case you're not aware, Joe Biden's not really the president right now. The real president right now is this guy named Barack Obama, and he was also in charge of the government back in 2014 when this happened, the Veterans Health Administration controversy, otherwise known as the VA scandal of 2014. That was when we learned that all over the country at VA hospitals in multiple states, we had military veterans waiting to get health care in line with fake people, people that didn't exist. Dozens of people in multiple states across the country died here. It happened in Arizona. It happened in Florida. It happened over and over again. Why? Why wouldn't the U.S. military, why wouldn't the VA hospitals, why wouldn't our own federal government want these people to live? Well, as it turns out, if they die, it saves our federal government a lot of money. And Barack Obama and Joe Biden and people like Kamala Harris and certainly Tim Walz don't respect military veterans. They don't care for them at all. They certainly don't want them to stay alive because the more money they spend treating these people and providing them with health care, the less money they could spend on things like our military industrial complex. I'm Kenny Webster. Stay tuned for more right here on KPRC 950.
So we're supposed to live within our income so we can afford to pay taxes to a government that can't live within its income? Yeah, that. Kenny Webster's Pursuit of Happiness.